Joseph Wood Jr. was a 34-year-old African-American newspress editor, a New York publisher, and a former editor of The Village Voice. He had flown to Seattle on July 7, 1999 to attend a Unity 99, a national conference for minority journalists. On July 8, 1999, Joseph drove alone to Mount Rainier National Park, which is located 60 miles southeast of Seattle. He went to take a hiking trip and do some bird watching while on the mountain. Joseph entered the park at approximately 12:29 p.m. according to park receipts, which was given by the park entrance. He then drove to the Longmire area and started his hiking towards Mid-Red Point. At the time, Joseph was not equipped for a long hike and was dressed only in a light shirt, wearing binoculars, and carrying a bird book. When Joseph failed to reappear again at the conference some days later, his friends were surprised, but not alarmed. But when they noticed he didn't return to New York on Sunday, July 11th, his ex-partner, a reporter for the New York Times who attended the Unity conference with him, grew concerned. Joseph's ex-partner and other friends decided to travel to Mount Rainier and follow Joseph's routes up the mountain. They tried to reach the place where he was last seen, but unfortunately the trail was buried in snow, and rangers advised them to head back. By Tuesday, July 13th, Joseph's friends had filed a missing person report with the Mount Rainier National Park Service, and the next day, park officials found Joseph's rent-a-car in Mount Rainier's parking area. On July 15th, park rangers were contacted by a hiker who recognized Joseph in a local news story. The hiker said that he had met Joseph on a Rampart Ridge trail at an altitude of 4,800 feet on July 8th at approximately 2 p.m., in which they both briefly spoken. The hiker reported that Joseph had asked him whether the snow-covered trail continued much further. The hiker stated he had told Joseph he had gone up the trail but turned back around at a snow bridge which looked dangerous to cross. The hiker stated he was not on a main trail but instead was following other hikers' footprints. Thereafter, he came down the mountain immediately after his and Joseph's conversation. In the winter of 1999, Mount Rainier was covered by heavy snow, at least 2 feet of snow. During the day, the snow would melt in the warm, sunny days following Joseph's disappearance, which meant that any tracks left behind would have disappeared. Joseph's 3-hour hike would have took him through the dense forest of western hemlock and Douglas forest with 4 to 6 feet high compacted snow blankets, which partially covered the trail. The National Park Service organized a search team of backcountry rangers, firefighters, and volunteers. They conducted the search in squads, with dogs moving out across the southwest face of the mountain, with helicopters crossing the peaks. On Friday, July 16th, heavy rain fell, but rangers continued searching due to the improving weather. The search was extended one more day, but no evidence of Joseph was ever found. Eventually, the search was terminated due to the possibilities that Joseph had succumbed to the elements of his environment and the weather due to the light clothing and the lack of food or shelter. According to friends, Joe had a heart condition, which only was discovered a few months prior to his disappearance after a fainting in the airport. He had been considering getting a pacemaker after that incident. Sadly, after all the efforts made, the man-powered volunteer Joseph Wood Jr. had never been found, and his disappearance continued to remain a mystery after 20 years.